HAPS, and we have this show, the big interview. But I am extremely excited because I have a special guest who, like, I got to tell you, I've just had. Well, anyway, we'll just talk about it. And though, before I do this, you can't see me, can you? Doggone it. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Hello, Dania.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good, Rev. How are you?
I'm good. I meant to do this in the pre-live because it, it just kind of came to me, but you can't see me. So
I sure can.
I just put on this skull cap, okay? So the skull cap, I put it on the other day. I wear it a lot. Hey Joel Ferguson,
Okay.
nice to see you. I wear it a lot. I'm taking it off because it'll leave marks on my head. But it
Yeah.
reminded me of the fact that your dad was a merchant marine, and
Yes.
and I wanted to wear that because I wanted to bring your dad with us tonight. And I'm like, man, I put that on and I thought of you. And
Aw, I can picture
yeah,
it. It's such a good visual right now. Thank you for
yeah,
that. That's
very good.
awesome.
You're very welcome. And so yes, Dania or Dania, right? But I've been saying Dania, and then you
Yeah,
say Dania, and I'm like, wait, now they think I'm pronouncing her name wrong. So I'm just going to say HBIC, and we'll be
that
good.
works for me. Yeah, it's all right. Or D, Miss D, whatever.
D,
Whatever
I
floats your
like
boat. We're
D.
friends. We're friends. You can
Yeah,
call me whatever. I answer to
yeah.
it.
Well, we've got all kinds of things that we call each other. They're all good things,
Oh, yes,
um,
all good inside
but
jokes. That's for
let's
sure.
let's give some credit right off the top of the hour to Haps, to the universe, to filmmaking, to friends, especially a guy named Jim Jones,
Mr. Jim
because
Jones.
Jim Jones connected us together a few weeks ago. And I don't know, he's a smart guy, but I don't know if he knew how smart he was by putting the two of us together because we just have been having a blast and we're like working on a couple of projects. And I want to say that my experience in film, and I know there's so much inside baseball here, but we're just gonna have fun. My experience in film and in these things like Clubhouse and live streaming is that you make really powerful connections kind of quickly. And I think part of it is the medium that we can communicate in and our quick access to everybody, and also just the connectivity that I have. Every time I step into a room in Clubhouse and meet somebody, they're probably a filmmaker. So we're going to connect really fast. You know what I mean? We're going to have a lot in common. So, all right, this is why I'm not a great host because I'm talking too much. So, tell
You're
us,
fine.
tell us a little bit about you, and we're going to do like the not the long version, but a little short. This is your life because my God, you do more by 9:30 than I do all week. So, uh, it's true.
It's whenever people say, "Oh, what do you do?" I have yet to really perfect my spiel because there's too many things. So I like to say that I'm
I
a
know.
jack
I
of
can't
all
count them
trades.
all.
Well, at this point, I kind of condensed it down. Actor, model, coach, filmmaker. Those are sort of the main things that I'm pursuing full time. There's obviously other things. I'm also a visual artist. I do chalk art. Dabble in comic
Chalk
book
Chica.
art. Chalk Chica, doing that. I'm also in the pageant industry. I was a previous title holder. I was a state director with my own pageant system under the Petite USA pageant system, and then was training people for that competition. I'm also just a regular pageant coach, so you don't have to be in that particular organization. I do a little bit of everything, just not math too well.
Not
I don't
math.
math well.
Oh
I
God.
know.
Well,
Unless we're
then
talking
look,
about like
we're
budgets and bank
totally
accounts and
screwed
things like
if we have to
that.
sign a contract with money because I mean I have a
No, no, no.
learning
Okay.
disability in math.
Let me, well, I'll say that when it comes to financial matters and especially budgeting and those
You're
kinds
on
of
it.
things, I'm a whiz. I just don't
Oh,
ask
good.
me to do like 15% of a number because I'm just gonna stare at you and just smile. I
Mm-mm.
can't.
No,
I
like
can't.
when they want, they say you should tip 20%. I just put cash down till it feels like enough. Hopefully it's
Make
too
it
much,
rain. You just
but
make it rain. It's fine. It's fine.
So you, um, okay, if I had to ask you to tell me one of those things that you do that you are the most of.
Ah, you jerk. That's so hard. I guess I'm one of those rebels who just, to make me pick one thing
Mhm.
instantly makes me uncomfortable
Okay,
because,
well then undo it. That's fine. I don't like favorites. I don't. So, but
well, I guess actually at this point in time, I would just say I'm a storyteller. Put it that way.
oh,
I
nailed it.
feel like that's
Nailed it.
broad enough,
Nice
right?
job.
Right?
Nice
Thank you.
job.
Thank you for
Um,
setting me up for that.
yeah,
It was
hey,
not.
we definitely didn't plan ahead, but sometimes it'll work. The okay, so let me do this because I do know a little. I probably know more about you, unless Jim is watching, than anybody that might be watching. And I want to kind of go a little bit to the pageant thing because it's really interesting because when I was reading about you and I was reading about I mean, the pageant stuff, the you became the director of the pageant organization like after you won for the state of California, right?
For the state of California, yes,
Right.
under the Petite USA umbrella. Yeah, I
Right.
became the state's first state director. They hadn't had one before, so I figured why not, and so I did it.
Did did that mean that there weren't even 50 states participating at that point or
Correct. So the way pageants work, and there's a lot of people who don't really know about the politics of it, it's a whole microcosm
oh, I'm
within
sure.
each pageant organization. So with this particular group, it had been around for a while, but it's very, very hard to get all 50 states signed up. It takes a lot of commitment, a lot of resources, a lot of people and dedication. So when you have states that have a state director, they're in charge of having their state pageant, finding those title holders, and then bringing that team to the national competition. For states that don't have a state director, you basically are appointed. And that means that out of all the applicants from that state, the national director is the one who determines, okay, based on their qualifications and photos and maybe an interview like on the phone or on Zoom, will select you to be the title holder for that division for your state without having technically competed against other people. So you get recognized as an official title holder and you get to go to nationals and compete, but you don't have a state director and you may not necessarily have sister queens who are in the other divisions from your state. So sometimes you'll have one girl representing her state. Sometimes you get lucky and you have a full team of people. So with California, when I competed in 2015, there wasn't a state director. I applied, I was chosen and appointed, and then I went on my own to Florida to do the national competition and won. And from there, instantly just said, I have to replicate this. I want women and girls in the Golden State to have this opportunity. And
Mhm.
so that's how that came about.
Well, that's awesome because and by the way, Jim is here because I know you can't
Yay!
necessarily I don't know if you can see it, but he says she's a wonderful mentor for some youth who need a helping hand. She is.
Oh,
I got to be honest with you, Jim. Shit. She's oh, you can swear on here by the way. She's my she's been a mentor to me in the last few weeks. So, I've learned a ton and you did a great job, dude. I owe you big time, my friend. And the thing about the pageants that I found was interesting was because I think there are people that like think pageants and feminism and I'm just going to use those words. I'm not going to go into detail,
yeah,
but right.
absolutely.
But one of the things that I was definitely had the impression was, and you just said it there too, is that you wanted young women to be able to be in this competition, and you find it highly valuable to young women. I'm going to say here, and so tell us why, for you and for other young women, you think doing this is such a great thing.
So I think before I address, my journey with it and those of the queens, I call my clients that I coach queens instead of clients.
Hmm.
Before I kind of go into that, I want to say that for people out there watching who are not familiar with pageants or who have a kind of jaded, biased, or stereotypical perspective,
Right.
throw out the term toddlers and tiaras. I don't even touch that. Not that. Um, throw out the dumb girl that doesn't know how to answer a question, throw out all the fail videos, throw out all the stuff that unfortunately a lot of society likes to see as entertainment, and kind of start from scratch here, at least where this conversation is concerned, because
Hmm.
people do have preconceived notions about everything, including pageants. And yeah, stereotypes stem from kernels of truth. So it's not to say that there aren't mean girls or, certain things that happen behind the scenes. But when you push past all that, at the heart of every pageant organization is a common mission, which is to uplift women, encourage them to be contributing members of society, and to develop them into role models that other people can look up to. A lot of the pageant contestants that I've worked with, that I know, I'm dear friends with, are some of the most amazing, intelligent, well-rounded, selfless people I've ever met. And I continue to be pleasantly surprised every time I work with a new queen. The social skills, public speaking, interview, stage presence, poise, etiquette, volunteerism. A lot of people don't realize that a majority of pageant organizations are very, very heavy on community involvement and community service. I have met more queens who were either contestants or winners who have started foundations, who
Hmm.
spend a majority of their time in the community, getting their hands dirty in legislation, at the local community. I mean, it just goes on and on. These are leaders of tomorrow. And pageantry is the vehicle that many of them use to get scholarship money to go to college, to further their educational goals. A lot of them use pageants for self-confidence. I can't tell you how many girls I've met who said, I got into pageants because I was painfully shy. I could not talk in front of people, and this gave me the strength and the courage to do that. And for anybody who's going to judge pageant girls, put on some 4 to 6 inch heel stilettos, strut around in a bathing suit, answer a question on stage that you have no idea what the question's going to be, and answer it in 30 seconds, articulately, candidly, professionally, and with grace. And we'll see how dumb or how easy pageantry is, because it's not. It's like nationals are our Super Bowl.
Uh-huh.
Every year that I would bring a team to Petite USA's national competition, you could see it was like slow-mo in the action films. We're like walking with our like stilettos, like, you know,
Hmm.
fixing our
And feeling
crowns,
it too, right?
feeling
Feeling
it,
it.
because
Yeah.
this is a form of femininity at its most fun. And it's not always glamorous. There are tears, there are meltdowns, there's damage control. I mean, you're talking about reality TV. This is the real thing, just without the cameras. But this is also speaking to different organizations that are also creating themselves in the likeness of what they want to see. So yes, you are starting to move away from, you have to be this size, or this body type. And there's so many fun facts I love to teach people about pageants, because I'm a nerd. And one of the things that a lot of people are surprised by is that when it comes to competition portions like swimsuit and evening gown, the judges are coached and they go to orientation, and they're well versed, if the organization is doing a good job, on what to
Hmm.
look for the criteria. And when it comes to that stuff, they're not judging who has the best body. Let me say that again. Judges
Hmm.
are trained to not judge who has the best body. It isn't about that. It is about which of these women is the most comfortable in her skin.
In
Because
their
I can
skin.
tell you,
That makes sense.
I've seen a size 0 model with, she just, I don't know what's going on. She was just a deer in headlights. She just was not comfortable. And then I
Hmm.
saw a
Hmm.
size 12 girl work it and just wreck the stage with her presence.
Right.
And I was such a fan. So it does transcend what I think maybe the history of it being, a swimsuit pageant, and then
Sure.
it's just morphed
Well, they
into
used to
this
have
whole universe.
swimsuit competitions. I mean, in the 50s. I mean, that's where all this
Yeah,
was probably born out of, right? So,
Miss America was, for sure. It was
yeah.
primarily a swimsuit competition. And I mean, look at the different types of pageants there are now. You have pageants for married women. You have pageants for Ms. Divisions, MS, which means you don't age out and consider too old after 24 or 26. So,
Hmm.
I mean, it's just this whole world that I get so passionate and excited about, because I have some amazing memories and chapters of my life that I dedicate and owe to pageantry. And to be able to be a part of my queens' journeys in their competitions, it you're a part of somebody's life, a very significant chapter in a woman's life. And that is a privilege that I take very seriously, and I love it.
Well, I am really happy that I brought up the discussion because I know, you know, because we've known each other for so long, that it is a big part of your life, and we have been talking a lot about, filmmaking and this and all of the things, and I really I appreciate that perspective for people because it's a difficult world these days um, for everybody, and understanding all of the changes that our society is trying to go through and embrace, with the ideas around gender and sex and all of these things that can be really confusing. And you said something just really powerful to me, which was that I'll paraphrase here, but helping young women become leaders, because um, the young women for since the dawn of time, basically, have not been uh, allowed to be generally or even promoted, encouraged to be leaders. So that I think right there is just incredibly valuable, and I hope people take away that from the conversation that young women leaders are something we need. There's an interesting statistic out there, folks. By the middle of this century, maybe slightly later, other than the hard sciences, there will be more women in college than men. And in fact, there's already a crisis of young men not going on to college. So it's going to be a problem. And by 10 years from now, there will probably be more women in the hard sciences as well. So I think that the guys better get their shit together, but I'm very happy that the women are going to have their shit together and can be in charge for a while. Politics aside, we've had, I don't know, 40 something white guys to be president. We could do without another one for a couple of hundred years and be fine. And so it's time, to kind of shift things around here a little bit. And I really am excited that pageant, that it's there. And I do want to say, why is it that I wonder tuition issues? Oh, okay. Hang on one second. Darian's here, but let me read what Jim said. In the last 2 months, and I didn't know all of this. I didn't. In the last 2 months, she has won various awards for her acting, writing, and directing in 2 films at festivals in Rome, New Jersey, Los Angeles. Jim knows you well, among others. She's on a
He's like my
roll.
second dad, so he
Yes.
wouldn't.
Oh no.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes. He said that. Right. You're like his daughter. Right. Just
he's,
received an
he's the
amazing review.
greatest hype man a girl can have.
What's that?
He's the greatest hype man a girl can have.
That's awesome. He's a great guy.
Yeah,
And he's going to be on our show. Ooh, and you guys might be doing something together we can talk about. The You never know. So Darian says, "Why is that? I wonder. Tuition issues. Are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about men, boys in school? No, I mean, I think it's just it's a bit of a these would just be my supposition. This would, I guess, be my guess, but I think it's just a bit of a cultural shift. I mean, boys are just not being um, encouraged, because they just kind of were assumed and all these things. I just think it's a big part of the new mishmash of the culture. And look, one of the things that's really interesting too, when you dive into these statistics about college, is the most well-educated. Who is the from a demographic kind of racial, I guess, perspective and sex/gender perspective, who is the most educated group, right? And it's Black women. More statistically, more Black women are in college than anybody else. Now, it's a smaller pool, and there's a lot of other things that that make that number maybe not quite look so great. But I think that that's progress. That we're seeing more women in there. Again, the problem is we're seeing the boys drop off, and I think that's going to be a problem. But
Why
I
can't
like
we
that
just
shift.
balance? Life is about
Yes,
balance.
right.
Why is it
I
gotta
mean,
keep being this? Like, I'm not a fan of that. Let's
yeah,
get it
and I
together.
could, yeah, and I don't want to dive too much into the politics of it and all of this stuff. I want us to have we can have this conversation at other times as well too, or now, doesn't matter. But the the I talk about this with my 8-year-old. The idea that because I'm big and strong, and muscular and charming and handsome, I just threw that in. The the that I was kind of assigned certain roles through evolution and from proto-human history to human history. But at a certain point, my massive muscles, not really, but well, I mean, no, never mind. I'm not going to get it's not necessary for me to be bigger or stronger than a woman to kind of go through daily life. So, like certain things that we can do or say, even from microaggressions to, all kinds of things, we can consciously say, hey, evolution made me a big, dumb brute, but I can change. I can do things differently. And that's always the focus to me. And with the pageants, you're changing the way that they think, the structure, of what they see leadership is. And just to see you and as a powerful, badass woman in filmmaking, which we're going to talk about, is huge. It's a big deal. I had Anna, Lydia, and Denise Cruz on here recently, two Latina filmmakers and a screenwriter. And I mean, talk about underrepresented Hollywood, and it's yeah, it's a big deal. So I'm just super stoked to have you on here, and I'm going to shut up again.
No, it's all good. Yeah, I just the opportunity to be able to tell my story and, if we don't tell our stories, people will not have something to relate to. You never know who's listening, who may need to hear what you have to say. And it's not about being an attention seeker, like, oh, I did all these great things and I have to talk about it so that you can. No, it's about being inspirational. There's a difference between ego and knowing your worth and what you have to impart to other people that will hopefully impact them. I love being a coach in all aspects, whether it's actors, models, or pageant contestants, because all coaches operate differently. The way that I like to operate is through a bit of life coaching. I'm not like certified in life coaching, but I've lived life
Mhm.
and I've had a very interesting life, to say the least, a very blessed one, but not without turmoil and trauma and all the things that every human being goes through. And I think if you have the opportunity to guide people through their chapters in a way that can hopefully spare them some of those inherent traumas that maybe they would have fallen prey to, I think that's amazing. If you can, one of the things that I love with the coaching that I do is it's about positive affirmation. Am I going to be tough? Absolutely. If you're not applying yourself, if you're not trying, and I'm just sensing you go through the motions, I'm going to call you on it. And I'm going to tell you that you're better than that. Or if that's the case and you're not taking it seriously, do not waste your time and do not waste my time. So it takes discipline and working with a coach who hopefully has your best interests at heart, not just in how much you're charging and how much you're paying your coach. You want to cultivate a natural friendship that they see you and you see them, because that's when people learn the best, is when they feel like they're really being listened to and they're being supported and they're not being judged. I'm constantly telling my queens and my clients how much potential they have, how much I believe in them, and how much I root for them. Some of them have very amazing support systems. Everybody's rooting for them. Others, not so much.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm the only cheerleader they have. And the stories that they tell me, their experiences, the things they share with me are all so crucial, because I'm getting a window into who they are as a person, and I'm identifying all these great things and moments and being able to bring those to the surface and continue to remind them, you keep pushing because you have this to give, and it is okay to be unapologetic about who you are. and what your goals and your mission in life is, just go out and do it. So being able to be a coach and a mentor and consult with people gives me an opportunity to remind folks how much they deserve to succeed. They just have to want it more than everybody else. Because if it's something you really, really want, you're going to
Hmm.
go through hell or high water to accomplish it. I firmly believe that. You're not going to let anything stand in your way. And sometimes all you need is just a person in your corner going, you can do it. And I've been doing that all day.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, all they really need to do is just follow you around for a day because you
They'd
are
be
all those
exhausted.
things that you just spoke about. Paul Garrett says Dania is an inspiration as well as a fantastic acting coach.
No, Paul is such a dear. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm one of the luckiest people in the world in that I have been able to cross paths with so many amazing human beings. I am a huge empath. I guess, a hippie. I don't know. From California. That's what we do. I love and thrive off people's positivity, off their energy, their zest for life, their talent, their potential. Watching people succeed gets me high. That is my thing. And Paul is just one of those souls who, the minute he walked into the room, I just went, oh my gosh, I have to work with him. And that's what makes me excited to wear the hat of a director, because now I can take action on a lot of these things. I can meet talent and actors and just be like, okay, I'm already thinking of a role for you. I can't wait to direct you in this. It's such a great way to connect with another person,
Hmm.
through the arts in this particular way. So Paul is a doll. I'm going to be working with him on a couple of cool projects, and he's awesome. Hi, Paul.
That is
I
awesome, and
appreciate
thank you,
you.
Paul, for joining us. So let's talk a little bit about. Oh my gosh, I mean, I don't know what time we're going to be here till if we start talking about all of these things, but we're in no hurry.
I'm shutting
The
down.
right, the the so the acting bug, right? I mean, because you were an actor before you were a filmmaker, right? I
Yes,
mean, in terms, right? Okay,
2015.
so
I've been doing it for
right,
20 plus years.
how did that hit? Oh, and oh, wait, before we do that,
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold on. Let me see because I want to make a. Oh, did it show up there? Hang on. Um, oh yeah, here it is. I'm going to show a little clip of something that you put together. We have
I
two,
probably
but this
can't
is the one
see it.
that's what's that?
I don't think I could see it, but go ahead. Go ahead. It's for
You
the
won't be able to.
audience.
This is the bloopers clip. Okay,
Oh,
so hang on.
yay. Okay.
Yeah, hang on a second. Okay, here we go. In three, two, one. Hey, this is Revolution McKinnis, and I am. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me give you a little more space there.
We hope you guys join us on HAPS TV Monday, October 25th for The Big Interview with host Revolution McInnes and me, Dania Denise, at 7 p.m.
You can do that again if you want.
at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard. Nope, wrong time.
So people can learn about you and all the dope stuff you've got going on. What was that noise? Jesus.
At 7 p.m. Pacific, 9 8.
So people can learn about you and all the dope stuff you've got going.
At 7 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Central, and 10 p.m. Ooh.
All right, we'll do one more.
At 7 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Central, and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
See you there. All right, hopefully that's enough. All right. So that was really fun. And if I can pull the other one up, so I want to say to folks too, when you see me looking down, I'm not. I mean, it probably is still slightly rude, but it's one of my friends or colleagues or somebody. I'm not going to just look down there because my neighbor needs some sugar. He's going to have to do without it. But it's somebody that's texting me and something's going on with the show, and I'm kind of constantly trying to communicate with people once in a while. But if I can get the other one racked up, I will show the other one. But the reason that I wanted to show that was just to show the difference. I mean, like I shouldn't even be allowed on camera with you. But one of
Oh
the
my
things
God,
that I,
Paul.
I observed, which was really neat, was I'm like, oh shit, look at her face when this is what actors do, not people like me that think they can act. And I know I can't actually. They act with their freaking face. Your whole being is in there when you're an actor. I know. I love making you laugh. This is so fun. But I mean, just folks, go to my Instagram, find the blooper reel, and just watch that, because you're in the moment and we're making this fun little video to put out there to promote this, and you're in it 110%. I'm in it at 110%. That's just the best I can do. But you're in it
You did
110%, and it
great.
looks great.
You
No,
made it possible. Thanks for
yeah.
being such
Well,
a
I
good
was
sport.
actually. What's that?
Thanks for being such a good sport and like being part of it.
Oh my gosh, I have like 15 more minutes of bloopers that I didn't send you. 'Cause
Same. I have more bloopers than I do good takes. And I feel like any actor will relate to that, especially in the world of self-tapes now. That whole setup from
Oh
home,
yeah,
it's definitely a new normal, but I'm enjoying the ride. I have no problem with it.
yeah. Well, it was really fun to put that together, and and knowing you're even everything that you've been in so well, to remember those clips, to put them in there. It was very fun, and like I know you're really busy, and I'm not actually going to ask you this, but I do have a bunch of footage that if somebody could log it, it would help me because I just can't. I'm just teasing because you could probably do it in 5 minutes and it would take me an hour. So anyway, I won't do that. I promise. The But yes, there's a lot of fun stuff out there with you, and the acting bug. Like you said, 20 years. So I mean, like I'm guessing you were one or two when you started. So
You
how
stop
did that
it.
happen?
You stop
Stop
it
it.
right
Oh, I'm not
now.
gonna stop it. I'm not gonna
I
stop it.
I I have been around. I had a pager. I used
A pager.
VHS.
A pager.
VHS. I used to have a Walkman and then a Discman. I had a car that
Ooh.
didn't have a CD player. Do you remember? You guys back in the day, remember this? When you had a car that did not have a CD player, you bought a special tape that had a cord and you
Mm-hmm.
stuck it into your
Hey,
cassette player and it
listen,
allowed you to plug it into your Discman. You hear me? And then you can listen to your CDs. That
listen,
was my
Dee Dee. I had a car that only had an AM freaking radio in it. Okay.
didn't have an 8. So
I mean, I
I
could have
used
gotten
to
the optional 8 track, maybe, but
Yeah, no, I'm I get lumped into the millennial category, which I don't think is fair because I feel like if you've used older technology, VHS, the first computers, you like it doesn't count. I'm kind of a millennial denier. I just like, no, squeeze me into the group before because I knew what it was like. The struggle was real, you guys. You
right. We used
millennials
to
and younger
when
people. I don't mm-mm. You got
I
it
don't think
easy.
I don't think I used my first computer. Um, High school, I think we had, yes, we did have computers. So we did have computers. We had like Mac, the original like Macs, and
Yeah,
with that
yeah.
tiny little screen. We definitely had
Mhm.
those.
Was it the green and
But
it flickered all the time?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
It wasn't even the fancy Mac with the white screen that they have, the black and
Oh,
white, which
no.
was such a game changer. But anyway, you know what? We're going to have you on every week and we'll talk about all these fun things. But I want to
Yeah,
drift back to acting a little bit. I got my
yes.
first experience in front of the camera when I was about 5. My father worked in radio. He worked for a radio station. He was in sales, but
Oh,
they were
that's cool.
doing a commercial, and they had family members, and ostensibly I was cute, and they had family members and stuff do these shoots and be in these parts of it. And I mean, I was lit. Like I'm in
You
a
were such a fan,
studio
weren't you?
at
I could just see you being just all over the place.
Man, I mean, I was like, there were, it was 3 cameras. It was the newsroom, like they were shooting it there at the local TV station. And I mean, I
Oh
eventually
my
went to
goodness.
film school, and we did a couple of other commercials, and I did go to college and dropped out of film school because I was making more money than my professors making industrial films. But the thing is that I took an acting class. Well, I mean, mainly because I wanted to know what acting was like, uh, you know, when I were to become a director, and because I mean somebody was really awfully darn cute that was in that class, and I was thinking, ooh, we might be able to do a scene together, which we did, and we did.
That's the
Okay,
real
we did
reason.
date for a while too, but anyway, but I did discover that I'm a shitty actor, and so when did you get the bug? I got it when I was 5.
I got it. Well, so I'd always been a dramatic kid. I was raised an only child, and always just had the most active imagination. I was always very theatrical.
Hmm.
So that was not new to me. Doing impersonations and just jokes and things in front of my family and my friends, being a natural storyteller was just my jive. That was just natural to me. And I do remember when I was 15, in the mail, there was a flyer for an open call for talent agencies in San Francisco. And it literally just went, that looks fun. Mom, Dad, can you take me? And they said, all right, let's go. And so I'd never acted professionally, never took a class, never took a modeling class, never did a photo shoot. We had good old pictures, regular pictures. I took one picture that my mom took of me, and I was like, this I was like that. So we took that picture and went to this open call, and there was just a ton of people there, obviously. Heard the spiel. Um, I thought it sounded cool. My parents supported me in whatever I wanted to do, which I'm so thankful for. And they dropped some money to do the training and all that. Unbeknownst to us at the time, that particular organization was ripping people off. So they did have valid guest speakers who were actors. There were named people that were on TV shows and things, but their business practices were very sketch. And unfortunately, they were taking people's money who, to be realistic, probably did not have what it took to professionally make it a career. And instead of being honest about that, they just kind of took whoever could pay the money. I was lucky that I got to audition for these agencies by participating in this. My parents paid the money and I got representation and I started working right away. So I was very fortunate. I think about a year later, I had heard that they got shut down for unscrupulous practices. So um, I remember when I found out about that, I felt so guilty actually, because I felt like, oh my gosh, my parents paid this sum of money and now I've got to make sure I be famous or do a lot of acting work and modeling work so that I can pay them back. So that was always, it was a weird kind of catch 22 for me because I was always pretty mature, even when I was young, in terms of how I saw certain situations and understood the way things worked and how adults have to pay bills and money doesn't grow on trees. So, but once I started doing, my training and learning how to slate on camera, do cold reads, commercials, and then started booking work, it just came naturally to me. I I just knew that this was a place I wanted to be. I felt that I was good at what I did, and so I stuck with it. And it was always parallel with my schoolwork and whatever I was focusing on academically and for my career, for college, there was always acting and modeling right alongside of it. So it's always been a part of my life and a part of who I am. And I just fell more and more in love with it every single day. And I still fall more and more in love with it every single day. It's just, it knows no bounds, my passion for the industry.
Well, yeah, the passion for the industry, and I have a lot of what I what I call what they are working pros on the show in theater, film, and music. People that grind every day and make
Yeah,
a good living, and you're not necessarily going to know, what their name is. Even,
right.
gosh, oh, Patrick. Man, I'm not going to remember his last name now, but a friend who just won an award. I'm horrible with names. Who just won an award for his short film, and he was on Pat Hogan, and he's also the head. He's the sound guy. I mean, he's in charge of sound for 3 shows at Paramount, right? I mean, that's a pretty big title, right? To be in charge of the sound production or whatever for three different shows that are being shot at Paramount, and he makes movies, and he gets those movies financed. He's not, necessarily. He's not that we can't all hustle for financing, but people actually, pay him money to make movies. And yet, you probably don't know Patrick Hogan's name unless maybe you happen to see one of his movies on Amazon Prime or something and saw it. But he makes films all day long that are good. And there are a ton of people in Hollywood that are doing that. And the amount of content that is needed really makes that, something that, that people can do. And that whole world of acting to filmmaking um, is totally different. Even when you were young, you know, like I said, when you were 20 years ago, and you're you know ones or twos. The what was the like? Give us a what was like the kind of the most fun times that you had kind of as an actor? Like, why would somebody want maybe their child to be an actor? Like, what kind of fun can you have?
Oh my gosh, where do you start? For me, it was definitely the outlet of creativity. Your typical, answers. It's fun to be other people. I've been a doctor, I've been a nurse, I've been a homicide detective, I've been a teacher, everything you can think of under the sun, I've had a chance to technically be. And it's fun to kind of live these mini lives. It is also fun to reinvent yourself and to connect with a character and with a story. It's certain moments when, depending on the project, of course, when you really feel like, oh, I finally understand who this character is. Because a part of that has to live with you. Even if you've never experienced what that particular role or character has been through, you have to connect to it somehow. And when that aha moment happens, it is just euphoric. I can't, it's really hard to describe in words, but it's always been a positive outlet for me. It's been a great way to stretch my imagination, not to mention memorization skills. A lot of people have trouble memorizing, and being an actor, you are forced to know your lines. Well, not all actors know their lines, but that's another story. Ideally, you know your lines. I have been a bookworm since a child. I was reading my dad's novels from the time I was 5 or 6. So I always loved reading the written word and memorizing. I would do poetry contests for elementary school, and I would memorize like 1 to 3 poems every week. So my capacity to remember a lot of text is really great. And acting has allowed me to keep those brain muscles active and functioning, because I think being able to look at a script, go through it a couple of times, spend some time with it, and then be ready on camera is such a vital skill, not just in acting, but what if you're giving a speech? Public speaking, being able to feel comfortable expressing yourself. Acting encompasses all of that. Plus, you get to connect with other people who get to experience the same thing. It becomes this great family, this community of actors. The experiences that we go through, the ups and the downs, the things that, the first world problems that come with being an actor, to have a community of people who relate to that and completely understand the language is it's infallible. It's such a great sense of belonging to be an actor and to just live your craft. I
Hmm.
thrive off
And that's a big word too for people that talk about the craft of
of
acting,
it.
and that it is the level of what it takes, to make a film, whether it's a short film, with a small budget. To I just watched Dune last night, and I want to go see it at the theater, but I couldn't wait, to watch it, so I watched it on the like the little 36-inch screen here on my computer or whatever. But that would have been a giant screen a while ago. But anyway, the but it was great, and I know the books well. I've read them multiple times, and I can't believe they like haven't guaranteed us there's a second film, considering where they stopped the film. But anyway, I can argue with the studio later in my own mind. And